I'm here with Linda Pitmon. You're in a lot of projects at the Baseball Project.
Yeah,
and
as projects go, that's one of them, Baseball Project.
And Filthy Friends. You played up in Appleton with the Baseball Project for Mile of Music years ago.
We did. That was some years ago. And we have really fond memories of that particular festival. It was a great day.
Do you care to share any of your memories of Appleton, Wisconsin? I don't know if you're there for a day or 2 days.
We were just there for like a day, I think, but we had a wonderful time. I don't know what we were exactly expecting. You know, you get booked for a show and it's like, oh, okay, it's a little festival. So you show up. But I didn't realize, none of us knew, that the whole town gets taken over and that there are just like every venue, every little bar, every outdoor space is just filled with, you know, they just book everything up and it's beautiful. It's a great, great scene. It's kind of like a little mini South by Southwest.
And you guys had you had a great set down in Jones Park, it was kind of set low and the park was packed.
Yes, it was. I know. We were really pleased. We were like, well, hell, Appleton, Wisconsin, you go. So I don't know why we haven't been back.
Since we're talking about the Baseball Project, for people that aren't aware, can you kind of talk a little bit about how the band got started and kind of the whole, what would you say?
Like why?
Well, why? But the whole reason, question. Like the it's all baseball themed, which
it is, and I think that can throw people for a loop. You know, so the genesis of the band came actually from a party that R.E.M. was throwing for, well, you know, and I don't even know who threw it, but whatever, it was like the night before they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So there was a big party at this place. Patti Smith's there, Eddie Vedder, you know, R.E.M. and, you know, all their pals. And luckily Steve, my husband, Steve Wynn, and I were invited by Peter to come down for this thing. And so we're hanging out, just mainly eating the good food and, you know, maybe having, you know, an extra cocktail or two since they were free. And as the free cocktails went down, the conversation kind of loosened up and started going to, you know, weirder places. And we were talking to Scott McCoy, who is a longtime touring and recording member of R.E.M. He was with them for 18 years. And it turned out that he's a massive baseball fan, just like Steve and I are. And Steve and Scott both confided that they had always wanted to write an entire record about just like baseball-themed things and to just do a whole record that way. And they kind of walked away that night saying, yeah, we should just do it together. Neither one of us has ever gotten around to it. Let's just try and do it together. So the next morning I woke up and I said to Steve, call this Scott guy today because otherwise we'll forget. And I just think it's such a great idea and I really want to do it. And so we called him and they started trading files right away the next day and started bouncing around song ideas. And we ended up going to Portland about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months later, just Steve and I, and hung out with Scott, kind of worked the songs up in Scott's living room and went in the next day and recorded. I think we did it all in sort of like 3 or 4 days and just whipped them all out. And Peter came in and put overdubs on everything in one day. And then
put out your last album at the end of last year, didn't you?
Yes. Well, actually in June of last year, right. We're in the new year, right. Last year, 2023. So it's been going for a long time. That was our 4th official record, and we actually have a 5th record that was sort of done in pieces. We wrote a song a month for ESPN.com during the 2010 season, and we wrote about things that were happening right then. In the season, and we would release them, and they were up for free.
When you started the band, did you know that you guys would be around for that long?
I think they might say no, they didn't really think it would be something that would go on that long, but I kind of had a weird feeling that it would be popular just because I know so many people, so many friends that are massive baseball fans that are also, music nerds like us. They kind of go hand in hand, like stats, like, were you a record collector growing up? So you know how you're turning it over, you're reading the, all of the, the credits, and this person produced it, and I can't believe, right, okay, Dave Maddox played drums on this. I didn't know that he was and it's sort of the same with baseball cards and baseball stats. It's like, you get deep into that kind of nerdy stat land, and so I think it appeals, that both of those things appeal to some people. And so I'm not terribly surprised that we're still doing it. I kind of figured people would get into it. So
You're in another project I love called Filthy Friends.
Yes.
And that's with Corin, if I'm saying her name right.
Corin Tucker. Mm-hmm. Yeah, from Sleater-Kinney, yeah. Yeah.
I don't think, as far as like the style, it's hard, like it's totally different styles. Like, do you prefer to kind of do different projects to where you can kind of play differently?
Yeah, and I actually try to keep it sort of separated in my head so that I don't fall into ruts. Like, you can do that as a musician. You might have favorite licks or fills that you fall back on, you know what I mean, that are kind of in your wheelhouse. And I try to compartmentalize. Like, when I'm playing with Filthy Friends, I try to keep a more angular idea and approach in my head, an aesthetic that's more angular and less bar rock, less rock and roll, like the way that I kind of grew up playing in more like, like Stonesy kind of bands or whatever. And I just really try to, especially with Filthy Friends, I kind of protect a certain aesthetic that was there before I joined, because Bill Rieflin, the last drummer for R.E.M., he played on the first record. Then he had to step away from the band, even though he loved it very much. He was very busy with King Crimson, who he started playing with, and he was kind enough to toss me the baton. And I felt we were very good friends, and spent a lot of time together, like musically speaking, because we shared Peter and Scott. We both played with them a lot in different bands. And I just wanted to do right by him and kind of keep this approach that he had come up with for the band, and kind of keep that intact. So it was a lot of fun for me to do that.
This is your first time playing Joey's song, right? Do you have any expectation of how the event's going to go?
Yeah, I expect that the know-it-all girlfriends are going to kick some know-it-all boyfriend butts, and that we will be walking away with a giant gold belt. I don't know how much that thing weighs, but it looks pretty formidable. So, no, I mean, it's just going to be really fun, and there'll be some healthy competition for part of it with this, know-it-all girlfriends and know-it-all boyfriends.
Do the girlfriends have any tricks up their sleeves?
Of course we do. And if you think I'm telling you, a boy, you got another thing coming, because you could be a spy.
I could be.
I know.
So, did I see that one of your influences in Big Star
is Jody? Yep. So, Jody Stevens from Big Star is here, and I am lucky enough to be friends with him. We go back a ways. We actually both have done time playing in Golden Smog. So he's played on some records, I played on one, we go way back. So, but first time I met him, I was like, you were so much a part of my, I want to play like that. He was on my list of about, 4 or 5 drummers that it was like, yeah, he really influenced me.